Welcome, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 4's Black Ice. I will say it that way because it's basically a total conversion of the game. And we're facing a problem here. And I know they're working, and I thank them for continuing to work on the game and develop their game. And I'm thank them for not changing the sort of quote unquote standard version of Black Ice too fast. Did sort of ask them to, yay, and I thank them for not doing so. Though they do periodically, and sometimes in rapid succession, release a beta version. We'll call it. I'm not exactly sure what they call it, but test version or whatever. So that way I don't have to keep restarting my game because, of course, I play very slowly because right now I'm only playing once a week for about 4 hours, where a lot of people will play, 4 hours a day or something. Okay, right now we have stability at 53%. Whether you want to tie it into a military parade in Paris or a military parade in Berlin, but taking and creating Vichy France gave huge amounts of war support, which we do have, and also huge amounts of stability to Germany. It did. Now, we are doing United We Fight currently. That is helping us with weekly stability. Now, we have down here decreased unemployment and more consumer good factories and more stability, which is great. As a peacetime economic thing, now you can, I get improved working conditions, I get other things, but in wartime, wouldn't war economy do the same thing because it decreases unemployment? I mean, literally the same effect. I mean, it may also do other things as well as, decrease unemployment, because going to a war economy is turning on a factory that was, I don't know, maybe 8 hours a day on or 10 hours a day on or something and 5 days a week, into something that's a 24/7 type operation that they just work out shift changes and who's working the weekend, roll through that or however. I don't know the scheduling, how they did that, but a lot of these factories got to, in these countries, 24/7, day and night. Some of the production, even in peacetime, would take 12, 24 hours that you had to, like, rolling some steel or something to do a single process. And you'd have to rotate through a crew to do that just for the keep things from going off track, if you will, during the process. So, but here weekly stability is down. So instead of going up in weekly stability for decreasing unemployment, we're going down in weekly stability for decreasing unemployment. So I don't get all of these hits. And I know the big factor here is why it's been so bad is base stability is Heinrich Himmler and the SS. And I can argue that, yeah, especially starting now or early 41 with the solution that was final. Again, we're trying to stay away from things with very evil stuff that isn't the comment. But you might think that was reducing stability. Well, no. It already had. And it was the SA that did Kristallnacht in 1938. It was the SA that were the bully boys on the street standing out in front of Jewish businesses. It was the SA that was the enforcement of the National Socialist regime. even after Ernst Röhm was, killed, executed. It was still the SA that was doing that. Yes, there was SS police types, but they were not really being aggressive against the population. And the Gestapo was a rather small organization that very few people concerned themselves with, because they were going out after the criminals. Now, maybe political criminals, but they weren't, bothering citizens. So it's really the SA that was sort of in the civilian situation. So I just don't get this strong base stability down to 6%. That, I think, is wrong. I really do. Now we're going to go this because I think we need to. We have the points. So, oh shit, it's going to take 241 days to implement this crap. You've got to, and this is sort of a talk to the developers, which I love what you're doing. We've got to have more political power somehow, because you are increasing so many things that need political power. And that's fine. And it's fine that I can't just, whack all these buttons that have political power all at once. That's fine. Why creating these divisions cost political power, not command power? And then why would they even cost? Well, okay, 1 command power, 2 command power, something like that, because again, we have a lot right now used as the attaché over to Japan. But even without that, we still not as much as this can go up. So yeah, why? What's the point? How is this a political power thing to motorize an infantry division? You're just taking the infantry division, if that's all you're doing, and giving it vehicles. Yeah, I know that's changing the template here, but in reality, how is that a political decision? So, well, Arno knows the spokesman for the Dutch Ministry of Defense. He could ask him if Arno really wanted to. See, Arno knows people. All right, well, let's take. Do we have any naval battles recently? We got a convoy there. Oh, we have been taking out some convoys. Wow, good. Oh, lost a sub. Lost another sub. Goes down, but no. Hey, Jetin. But the Allies are beginning to train pilots. I think for Ukraine, is that what you're talking about? That's very likely. Okay, well, let's start the clock. I've done a lot of sort of shift divisions around maintenance. Okay, these guys are pushing here, not totally successfully, so let's add some weight to advance. You're going east, you'll go northeast. We can start moving that way. Okay, so we have... Let's take the radar station. I'd rather own it than not. Okay, let's push here. I wish I could set this up, set the support order prior to the battle commencing. Breaks through Russia's first line of defense near Tomat. Okay, I'll look at that. I don't know if I had heard that one. Okay, we're going to send in the motorized division there. And we're going to attack that infantry division. And once that battle commences, and then we're going to support that. Once that battle commenced, now we're going to support that. So that way, there's 2 divisions attacking each one of those divisions. Okay, you're going to push right up there, and you're going to support that attack. See how all this works? And we'll get pushing to that river. Hey, Michael, how you doing? Pushing up there, defending. These guys, yeah, they're crossing the river to get there eventually. Okay, what we're going to do now is, with them retreating and these guys look like they're attacking, we're going to do a river crossing here as a counter-attack, because it won't be entrenched. Okay, they're defending here. Again, similarly, we're going to do a counter-attack there. We're pushing too far out, but let's keep doing it. See, I really wish I could order this movement and then tell this division, say, to support the attack and not go forward. So if I look away and something moves in front of this unit and it becomes an attack instead of just an advance, it would have support and I wouldn't have to mic. Hey, Beam Slam! Good to have you here. Have you seen Decisive Campaigns series on Steam? You gotta check. Just a second here. Have I? I know this sounds. I'm thinking I have. Let me see if it's what I'm thinking of. Oh yeah, well yeah, Ardennes Offensive, Decisive Campaigns Ardennes Offensive. I got some videos on that. Oh yeah, I've got that. That's the only one I have of them. I don't have their earlier stuff. Oh, hello. Well, okay, Arno, there's maybe a bot over on Rumble that needs killing. It just posted a link. I'm relatively happy with somebody posting a link in my chat here, so long as it's sort of pertinent, like, I don't know, something to Wikipedia that's something we're talking about, you know, if you will. But please don't make that your first post of the day, unless I sort of kind of know you. Well, you're not a moderator over on Rumble. Well, why aren't you a moderator over on Rumble? I will get you moderator status if I can. I presume I can. Well, just it's some other Rumble video or something they're posting a link to, so it's not anything probably bad. But yeah, okay, I'll get you. Yeah, yet. Okay. Oh, what are we? Oh, yeah. No, I haven't played the Barbarossa one. I've just got the Ardennes Offensive. It's a combination of expense, quite honestly, and time. It's both, because I could afford whatever one game I want. A game is not the difficulty. I can't afford the entire library of Steam or something, you know, many thousands of dollars. But if it's something I'm actually going to take the time and play, you know, play a bunch, not just play once, play for 3 hours or something like that, but actually play, then I can get it. And if I think I'm going to play something like that, I'll get it. But like I say, when it is sort of, you know, it's going to cost money, maybe not huge amounts of money, but cost money. Okay, well, do we want to, no, we want to take this railroad, I think is more important. No. So money does sort of become a factor. Now, I have played a bunch of Ardennes Offensive, but fortunately they gave that to me for free. So that kind of stuff I can deal with a little better. Some will be training at bases close to my location, probably fly home with the same planes again sometime next year. Yeah. I'm still of the opinion the Ukrainians have won the war. We just got to now end the war. You run out of steam. You're getting more support, so you're almost there. So you can join. Oh, they've got 4 divisions, but we do want to put pressure on some of these divisions are escaping from other places. Okay. 3 divisions attack there. You support that attack, so it's more than one direction. Now because we're bringing up more forces to push that way. While they're still coming, we can break the stalemate. These guys are going to get across that river someday. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, like I say, in my opinion, the Ukrainians won the war. The Ukrainians won the war, stage 1, that they stopped the collapse, they stopped the takeover of Kiev and pushed that whole northern front back to the original borders. That is probably where they won the war. Definitely what shows us that they have won the war is when they push the Russians back. I think, what is this, the Dnieper? Sorry, I don't remember all the rivers. And here's Kherson, spelled with a CH here. But when they push back the Russians here, they've won the war, people. Now, will they get all of the... let's drive to Sevastopol. Is there going to be somebody there? Well, let's just check it out. Are they going to get back Crimea? I don't know. Are they going to get back all of the Donbass, all of the territory that they took? I don't know. But, you know, and I'm a little worried about what Jeton said here, defeating tyranny in all of its forms. Is this really now become, and this is what I'm worried about, quite honestly, I am worried. What do we do? Where are you supposed to be? Oh, trains. Get there fast. Is this really a war to defeat Putin? that we're going to keep this war going, demanding everything back until the collapse of the Russian state and Putin is no more. God damn, people, you're gonna kill a lot of Ukrainians to achieve that goal of defeating Putin. That is what I'm afraid. Oh yeah, I know about Belarus, but see, this is the problem. I'm afraid these same people have the mentality of they got to defeat Trump here in the U.S., whatever it takes to defeat Trump. That Trump is somehow something evil. Okay, Putin's a dictator. Putin thought he was going to have an easy victory over a senile old man. Yeah, the senile old man is the U.S. president. And he thought it was going to be easy to do. He's failed in that. Okay, he is crippled in that. Now, you want to make Putin stronger? Make this about Russian nationalism. Russia, hooray. Then all of the Russian people will get behind Putin. But if you go, hey, Russian people, want to stop having your people die in combat or in attacks, or whatever, in counterattacks? Hey, here's a peace proposal. It's reasonable. Now, Putin is the bad guy to the Russian people because he won't accept a reasonable peace proposal. But I really believe I don't know if it's most of the leaders. I'm not talking about the people in the street in whatever country. I'm talking about a lot of the strategist types in this. I really believe that they have turned this into a proxy war to defeat Putin, not save Ukraine. And you know what? If this fucking thing was, if the Crimean border was such a goddamn important thing, why didn't Obama do something about it when Putin invaded Crimea? When Putin invaded this part of the Donbass over here, because here's Mariupol, but it's over here that they've occupied for a long time. Why the fuck didn't they put sanctions on? Oh, sanctions a few Russian oligarchs. Oh, they still haven't sanctioned Russian oil. Oh, they have a price cap. Oh, Russian oil can only be sold at, what is it, $60 a barrel? I think it's being sold at $71 a barrel now openly. So they're not even freaking, defeat Putin. They're not even putting proper embargoes on Russia if that's, just for an economic blockade, economic repercussions. No, they won't do that because it's needed in the world. So this is and I don't think you're hearing anything I'm saying is pro-Russian. I'm not, if I were president of the United States at the time that I think it was under Medvedev, I don't know, whoever it was, but when they took Crimea, my solution is I was going to, if I was the president, I would decide to hold a joint live fire exercise with Ukrainian forces, which would include 1 battalion of Abrams tanks, and we would hold it down in Crimea. And they would have orders not to shoot at anybody unless somebody shoots at them first. And drive down in there and then have come in their wake Ukrainian armed forces in their wake. And so somebody right next to them. Somebody starts shooting back, well, you shoot them. And because this was at that time very much acknowledged to be Ukrainian territory, and just dare them to shoot at U.S. tanks, and if so, return fire. Not shoot at any Russian anythings anywhere else, just inside of Ukrainian territory into Crimea. Now, that's probably overly bold for most people, most presidents, but it was a very limited response. Well, they didn't care enough about it. They didn't care enough about when they pushed into this part of here. Hello, Felipe. Thought text-based RPG AI sim would be so fun. Like I can't do anything I want. I can do anything. Yeah, I hear you. You got to be careful about those. Do you want to live in the pod? Maybe you do, but and I understand, but still, get out to real people. We basically told them we don't really care. Exactly, Beam Slam. When you know, I think one of the major things that pisses Arno here off about Russians is when they shot down the Dutch airliner that was flying over the area at very high altitude. Give life to my ideas. Yeah, yeah. And yes, I didn't remember that, but MH17. So that may have been an accident, but it was an accident of incompetence, not like some highly trained stuff that something got too close. We could talk about the Carl Vincennes and the not normally scheduled passenger liner that was flying right over them straight this way. That I know some people believe that the bodies had toe tags when they saw some video recovery. I don't know, but whatever the thing was, and you see the Carl Vincennes out here patrolling and this target coming in, and they were, and you can see that because they recorded and put out the because they were recording on the bridge at the time of the event, where the Russians haven't put out even whether real or recreated or whatever, but I'm pretty sure it's damn real. The bridge video, when they shoot down the Iranian airliner, and what they were trying to do to ward the damn thing off. So no, the Pan Am died over the Lockerbie, Scotland, with the bomb in it. That killed Pan Am Airlines, and that was back in the 80s. I think it's dangerous. It is like an ASI. Yes, that's what I'm sort of worried about, Felipe. That you're doing too much of it. I think you ought to limit the amount of time you do, because it's not because I know this is another topic. Yeah, there were a lot of Australians on that flight too. When you're playing a structured game like Baldur's Gate 3 or something like that somebody has created, that is competent, and it's organized, and yes, you get immersive elements, because I played the earlier Baldur's Gates and spent a lot of time there playing that. And most all of us here play a lot of games, so we get a lot of immersion. We read books. Ooh, wow, we were at the air battle component here that sunk a Soviet escort and 2 British heavy cruisers, British destroyer, British submarine, and 3 convoys. So yay. It looks like it was all air. Oh no, there were some DDs, BBs. Yes, okay. Took that out. But this modern AI is not just that it's free form, but it's it's sketchy. So it may be more addictive, and lots of problems with that. Yeah, no, this happened back in the 90s. Um, the Iranian flight over the straits there. But and so yeah, I don't know that it was a deliberate Russian, because yeah, there were Russians that were controlling that anti-aircraft battery, whoever literally was manning it. But I don't know if they really. Oh, here's a civilian jet that's just flying over the region. Whether if they even knew what nation it was. Let's go shoot it down. Versus what they may have just thought it was, a surveillance airplane or a Ukrainian civilian jet that they were willing to shoot down. I don't know what the people that shot it down thought it was, the Dutch one I'm talking about. But I do take that as being criminally incompetent and not, oh, KI double O. That was, I think that was the one coming over here in Russia way back in the 80s. Um, I think that was that one that the Russians shot down. Um, the airplane I was thinking, I knew Pan Am, Lockerbie, but couldn't remember. Yes. Hey, Sing. No problem. You need to have dinner with your family. But I like that you're here. New York, top Seoul. Right. New York to Seoul. Yes, exactly. Yeah, and it was coming in. It was coming like over Sakhalin Islands or something like that. And maybe it was skirting a little too close to Russian territory. But okay, so you know, they were doing that. I mean, I know the Russians probably claim, oh, it was the Ukrainians actually did it. No, and I don't know if the missile was fired technically from inside Russia because these borders and states don't quite align to modern territory. I don't know if it was quite literally fired from within the Russian territory or from within occupied Ukrainian territory, but and who what, but they shot that down. But nobody was really doing anything. Nobody showed that they really cared about Ukraine. Now we can talk about the CIA overthrowing, and I don't remember the names, but the previous pro Putin or pro Russian president that gets elected. Whether they did that or not, but if they did that, they did that, Um, but it was definitely done with local personnel, shall we say, meaning maybe the CIA or some other agency, maybe they organized the Ukrainian Revolution. I forget sort of what they called it, but if they did, I'm not saying they did or they didn't, but if they did, it was Ukrainians doing it, in a mass populace type event, and which might signal that if you're back to, I think it was Jetton's, Jetton, Jetton's, stop, tyranny. Well, maybe this part of Ukrainian territory, maybe, again, I don't know, but maybe it has a Russian majority population that feel tyrannized by the Ukrainians. Maybe, I'm not saying it is, but maybe if you were doing democratic voting on, the old Wilsonian principles at the end of, the what is it, 24 points at the end of World War One, have each region, whatever that means, it means every town or every province, every city, how big is a region, vote to see, and he was mainly thinking of breaking up the former Austro-Hungarian and German empires, but have those regions vote to be whatever countries they want to, including micro countries, which may make no sense. Country just right here, little country, Liechtenstein somewhere, kind of thing. But maybe if you take that principle, like the principle a lot of people, though now we're starting to see maybe a Catholic majority in Northern Ireland, maybe. But for a long time, it had been a Protestant majority in Northern Ireland. But you take that democratic principle, maybe some of this territory should be Russian. Again, I'm not saying it should. I'm just saying maybe. But we did nothing other than, showboat. Because I'm not going to say they're meaningless, but they're not hard-hitting showboat sanctions against Putin. So Putin thinks, well, if I push and I push successfully, I'll get some sanctions. If I push a little bit more, I'll get maybe a little bit more, but that's all. But now it's become, I think, a war. Like I say, my problem is I think it's become a war to collapse Putin, not a war to defend Ukraine. And Zelensky has no control. Okay, I think the military, not that the military won't answer to his political leadership, but I think it is being managed by elements out here, giving tactical information and training and whatnot. And Zelensky can't keep this war going if all of the military aid disappears. Okay, so it's the West, whether it's Europe or in America, he has to do what they say. He's a puppet. I mean, you may not want to, and again, I am not putting out Russian propaganda here. Not Putin, Zelensky is a Western ally's puppet because he is dependent upon aid. And so he has to do what the aid givers demand. If the aid givers demand something, then they need to do it. If the aid givers won't or don't, refuse to give him aid, he's gonna lose. So he's just a puppet now, and that I think needs to be taken into account here. So, like I say, I think Ukraine has won the war. Now, what are the borders going to look like for a peace agreement? That's what I think needs to be defined. And to the best of my knowledge, until Khrushchev designates Crimea as part of the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic, or whatever it was called back under the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, it had never really been part of Ukraine, to the best of my knowledge. It had been Turkish occupied, it had been Russian occupied. I'm not saying that nowhere, never in the history of mankind in this region that some ethnic Ukrainian type state that didn't control this for some brief period of time. But I don't know that it's really inherently Ukrainian territory. Now, I know now my problem with Putin coming in here is it was an internationally recognized zone. We didn't want to do that. And yes, under President Bush, the U.S. helped Russia practice for the invasion of Georgia, but the history goes back a long time, a very immediate response. Yes. I don't know if they helped. I don't know if they helped Russia practice to invade Georgia. I do know, I haven't looked at those Wikipedia links, and again, those are fine to put in the chat. I do know that Bush really pushed back and got withdrawal to the previous borders. So I do know that was, and U.S. forces were deployed into the Black Sea to help that happen. And what is your good news? See? Love to hear it. Okay, we're going to move 2 divisions there. We're going to send this division, or those divisions, and this division there. And these guys are going to come across there. These guys are going to come across there. These guys are going to go north like that. These guys are going to cross there. These guys are going to attack. Now, these guys are going to... these guys are going to go there. These guys are going to attack there. These guys are going to there. Oh, you're getting a new car. Very good. I know that you had a problem with a flood. I don't know if it damaged your car or you were just sort of trapped where you were, but I figured it might have damaged your car. In the flood, I remember. See, I remember things. Okay, getting reinforcements, that attack. That's just way too many forces right there. Okay, the cavalry division can go there. These guys can counterattack into there. Okay. Need to keep pushing forward, but also we have to get that armored division there. Alright. Railway. They're pushing back. Okay, you guys push there. May not be the best terrain to fight on. You support that. You guys, if we get in there, will pincer movement that, and you guys can move up there. Okay, well, we're here. You go to there instead. You go to here and here. Keep moving up to top. Now, what are my okay, I think we need to I think secret police, yes. We want to get more resources, more local factories out of these regions. Kingdom of Yugoslavia, yeah. This may be really, really stupid, but we're going to try it nonetheless. Used for moving or delivering items in restaurants, as it's also oldish. Yeah. Hey, Turn Low, how you doing? Okay, we have more than enough rubber, so we're going to reduce our rubber. No, not to 0, to 10. That should hopefully do good there. But it's the rest is tank production and whatnot. We're always starting to panic about the hurricane. No, nobody's paying attention to it here. The news is talking about it, but I was just watching something just prior to this stream, news report on it. I think it's going to be a tropical storm when it gets to me in a day or so. So I don't think it's going to be terribly serious. Hey, ZZ. The water here is fairly cold, and the ocean water, and it comes down from Alaska, and that really diminishes the effects of tropical storms that come north. So maybe stupidly, but I don't have great concerns. And where I am personally, and this is one thing they were talking about on this report, and the guy was very smart that was mentioning this. Where it's likely to be hitting out in the deserts, there with a bunch of rain that it's, I'm sure, going to bring flash floods are a real possibility, and that is quite true. And so that can be quite dangerous. So that has to be taken into account. But where I am, I'm high enough off the. I know I live in the city and all, but the water comes down. If it comes down a lot, it's got to go somewhere. But I'm in a high spot, so I should be good personally. I don't know what field uniforms. We stopped making SS uniforms. We need more. Our soldiers are going to be naked. Well, let's build more freaking uniforms. Trying to figure out why in the hell they think Seattle isn't. Oh, Seattle's in no danger from this thing. None whatsoever. Seattle's used to lots and lots of rain anyways. So it won't be anything. City gun just turning into a war zone. Criminals, traffic like cops are killed. Many more shoot. Yeah. I've never been to Brazil. I've known a few Brazilians. And yeah, there's lots of crime there. And yeah, it's not necessarily a great place for things like that. Hey, Ragar. Same from Louisiana. The idea of a cane gaining strength in cold water makes yeah. So yeah, our I grew up swimming in this ocean. Okay, and I grew up swimming down in this area. And this is still where I live. I don't not doxing myself too much, um, but there is a flow that comes down from Alaska that comes right down the California coast. And I remember as a kid being on vacation and wanting to swim in the ocean up here in, well, it was either spring, summer, or fall, not in the winter, and trying to go into that water, and it was cold. And of course, the surfers up here love the surf here, but they wear wetsuits. Yeah, no, that's cold. I mean, cold water. Down here, it's not in the summer, it's not so bad. But last I saw that it was off here. It's expected to be up into here maybe tomorrow, but it's going to be hitting. This is mountainous, the Baja California. It's dry, mountainous. Now this might be warm, shallow water here, but it's mostly, it looks like it's going to come up through here. And yes, people living out here. And my granddad's ranch was somewhere out in here where I know where it is. I'm just not going to point to it. Yeah, it can have flash flooding because the the sand doesn't the ground there's sagebrush and other it's not this. It's well it's I do have oh hey one of my mods is California picture mod in which I for Hearts of Iron 3 many of the areas get period um, pictures for their region which I made and I use some generic sagebrush type uh, pictures for some of the provinces out here that could show it better. But so there is vegetation and trees and whatnot, but it's not like grass covered that's very solid in most places. So a lot of water will create floods, and so the won't retain the water, the ground, and plus the sand will just fill up and go into a washer area or some sort of drainage system and immediately clog it up and then flood everything else because it's just taking if they're talking about like 10 inches or something of water dumped here all like within a day, and that will just cause huge flash flooding problems, and if you're in a low spot it's going to be bad. And you could, because there's definitely been in maybe less powerful storms, because we do get storms and they often come from up here, but they're not like hurricanes. um, uh, you could see significant flooding, but that's going to be in the low spots, and I happen to live sort of on a hill, a bit of a hill here, not high hill, but nothing that's going to like flood me out. um, but yeah, you very well may see floods, and you very well may see some of the mountain slides along, the hilly parts where people build right on the sides of the mountains. That some of those will periodically go and take just a few homes and can kill a few people. If you happen to be in the home and whoosh, another home comes crashing into you. But overall, it's mostly economic damage like that, and so I'm personally not worried, and some people maybe should be where they are, but they don't. Let's see. If you tried Vicky 3, heard it was broken months ago. I've not tried Vicky 3. Again, back to earlier comments. If I'm not playing a game much, I'm not buying it. And so I've not been buying a lot of the newer Paradox games because I'm just not playing it. Only tornadoes, that's a common occurrence, so you will also not have enough water without that. Imagine how dry area would be if there wouldn't be these large water injections. Oh, well, we get plenty of water here. Normally, we had been going through a few years drought, but all of our lakes, we get our water coming from up here. Our storms, our water comes from up here, comes in here, hits this mountain range, and as the airflow hits, it goes higher, so it goes cooler, and it dumps the water here and here. So you can sort of see this green kind of thing versus going out into the desert on the far side of this mountain range. Out here, every year gets monsoons in Arizona. And the monsoons, yes, they come up from the south. And it's sort of this dividing line here. And if you looked at the swirls I saw, there's also a cold swirl right out here. This maybe even going to hit it and done this. Oh yeah, well yeah, and you but it's in the wintertime it dumps water here, and like you say, snow here, snow at high elevations, water low elevations as it goes up, and then yes, it melts down in here. And we got the Colorado River here, which comes down here. It doesn't so much come here anymore, from my understanding. It flows down here. This is where it's called both Hoover Dam and Boulder Dam. Hoover after the president, and the lake behind it, huge lake behind it that's filled back up there. But a lot of the water and it still flows down here and we generate electricity. A bunch of that water goes into California. A bunch of it goes up to Nevada, particularly Las Vegas. And then a bunch of it flows this way into Phoenix now, Arizona. So not so much. Not that the Mexicans did much with a little bit down here, but they don't get much of it left anymore. They actually flow it back into Phoenix to use it there. So yeah, Yeah, we get, and that's, coming off of all this watershed out here from the Rockies. So yeah, there's water around here. It's just vegetation is dry, and in the winter it's cold enough to be snowing if there is snow. If water's coming down, and persistently stay there through the winter potentially. It's not like terribly cold, but it's cold enough for that. And so yeah, it's this in here is a big desert. There's no, yep, as Mexico, most of Mexico's population lives right down in here. And now there's another big population that lives right along the border because of border jobs. Lots of Americans have built companies down just in towns right across the border that have attracted a lot of Mexicans. But this is sort of a big empty desert here. Just to give you a geographic lesson of the area here. Mexico probably isn't happy about the river flow. Yeah, but Mexico really didn't do anything with it. Yeah, I hear you, but this is man, I'm blanking on the name. Tijuana. That's actually a pretty big city, and it's sort of there because of San Diego now. There really isn't much cities down here. There's a city over here somewhere, and then you got the city here and city down here, maybe a city here. There really isn't much farmland. There really isn't much. It just sort of dribbled out into the Gulf of Baja here, and there's no appreciable farmland. Like I said, this is desert, and the Mexicans never did any significant engineering projects to make canals or whatever to feed into farmland. So it's Ragar. Mexicans like to be unhappy about things that they think they can blame on America. To America to the north. All their problems are, and some of their problems are because they're in our shadow. Definitely the drug situation and the drug cartels are powerful because they're supplying drugs into America, and they have lots of money. And so this part of Mexico is sort of controlled by drug lords. Not my understanding, again, this sort of central area, sort of controlled out here and some of the other rural areas and up and around here. Now, up here, it's not, not that they can't do assassinations or whatever, but this area is still, and again, like 60% or so of the population of Mexico lives, and it's a huge population of country, lives up here. And this is, I know I'm giving you a geography lesson in the middle of this thing, but this is year-round temperate because it's high elevation, like between Guadalajara and Mexico City here. It's reasonably fertile, but it's a lot of mountainous, but it's all like high elevation. So instead of, you might think this is hot. No, this is like, up here, but without the winters, or springtime up there, but without, because it doesn't get that wintry, meaning it doesn't, where most people don't live on the mountaintops, but just the high elevation plains up here. So they don't like get a lot of snow or anything. And it's rather nice. I've never been down here. I've just been, around the border areas, but, yeah, that's sort of Mexico. And yeah, things up here they want to complain about being in our shadow and whatnot, but Gamer, do you know about the Tata group? Not sure that I do, Sing. Maybe I have, but not right offhand. Why they moved their weed growing operations to Oregon and Northern California? Well, a lot of the weed growing is local stuff. I don't know how much is gang controlled, but it might be. There's a lot of local weed growers. 60 Minutes did a good report on several months ago. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see that, but well, we've gone on long enough. We're going to end this episode here. We're going to keep the live stream going, but the episode will be ending here with a talk on U.S. and Mexican relations and the geography of the region. I hope it was interesting. See you next time for more, yes, more actual Arts of Iron.